Download.
Dynamite Download, your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling.
Promo, like the DMV. They're
This is the Symphony Boys.
The five
baby.
symphony of five.
Download, you guys. Positive energy. You have a great.
Your tribal fruit.
along, you know. I come along in the
Well, you know, actually, I did see that, and I was thinking.
John Silver, welcome to the show, John. How you doing?
more than a taste.
We were more than a taste.
Cold spray. Tired of the cold spray.
I went to the back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Woo! Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Right, welcome everybody to Dynamite Download. I am SPD, joined with the third member of Dynamite Download, Mind Runner, and we are breaking down an awesome night of wrestling last night. And AEW Grand Slam did not disappoint once again for the third year in a row at Arthur Ashe. A night full of just, ground and pound, good old fashioned matches. There wasn't a lot of fluff. There wasn't a lot of, shenanigans. We had 5 singles matches, in a company that is known for their multi-man or women matches. It was just pure wrestling, one-on-one matches, 5 of those. And it really was a showcase, and a lot of things happened. A lot of new landscapes changed, and the main event was fantastic. I just think, AEW consistently delivers on their special edition shows, in my opinion. They're really giving us the quality that we want and we crave. Here, I love quality wrestling. There's time and place for comedy and stuff, but this was a lot of new storytelling. I love a good surprise. I love a good swerve, and it was full tonight, man. How did you feel leaving the show?
There was no terrible matches. Everything was a banger. Everything moved storylines forward. Made me feel kind of stupid with one of my criticisms about the women's division too. I know we're going to talk about that match, but
Sure.
I feel like it was good to kind of feel like AEW again, and from banger to banger, from start to finish, it was. I'm going to start anticipating AEW Dynamite to suck, so that I'm blown away when it's awesome, because it's every time I get really excited about it. I'm not saying it ever sucks; it's always good,
Right.
but it never feels like it's as good as my anticipations. But when I'm just kind of tuning in just for the show, I don't know if that's maybe my expectations, but I felt like last night was one of the best ones they've had in a long time.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on what I just said earlier, like in a company filled of great factions and teams, and you had all these singles matches. The only knock that I kind of, it's a little sensitive subject overall. If I have to go against our grain and a little negative, just looking at this graphic, there are a little too many belts on there, and we're seeing a lot of the belts on there, but they have a purpose. But that's the only little thing. It's like, almost everyone has a belt on their shoulder at this point. Well,
fun fact, that more belts changed hands in this episode of Dynamite than any episode of Battle of the Belts.
Which I saw your tweet on that. Yeah, definitely saw your tweet, and I was like, that's interesting, because you have a show designed for title matches, and obviously one was a little bit of a audible, but still, I liked it. I liked changes. I liked fresh champions. AEW does a pretty good job of keeping their champions pretty fresh, without feeling like a hot potato type of thing.
Exactly.
And we got one right off the bat. Let's kick it off with the opener. Let me find my graphic for that. Eddie Kingston in his hometown finally got his honeymoon moment, his time to shine, and he delivered one of the best matches I've seen against against a wrestler that has been known for, I would say on paper, Claudio is steps above Eddie Kingston in a sense of career accolades, in my opinion.
Swiss Superman.
Yes. And so for this to go down the way it did, and the physical battle that these guys went to, and the hype to this match, I think it was perfect timing, perfectly executed, and a great way and great booking by TK and the team backstage of putting this on the first match and give us a very physical match. I mean, when Eddie got dropped out on the stage onto that LED walkway suplex, I was absolutely brutal. So I think, as hot or cold as I've been with Eddie Kingston, I think he really won me over tonight, and he's definitely been over with the crowd for months and months and months, and actually ever since he's been in AEW, he's been over with the crowd. But I grew a little stale with him because I was like, all right, man, it's kind of the same song and dance a little bit with his promos, but that's his style. That's his gritty, backyard dog style. And I'm back on the Eddie train.
Oh, big time. And what's interesting too is first we're going to talk about a lot of stories were finished, to use the old Cody Rhodes thing. Finish the story. A lot of stories were finished tonight, but this was a classic battle. I mean, anybody that knows the history between these two, they know their history. But even if you didn't, there was enough promos to kind of tell you about it. But this was Claudio is the perfect specimen of the epitome wrestler. He's Swiss Superman, and he's what people look for as the in shape super wrestler. And then there's Eddie, who has spent so many years in the indies being told he's not good enough. He looks like a slob. He's sloppy. But then it's almost like a Karate Kid story. He goes to Japan for a few months. He battles it out, cuts blood, comes back with the world champion, JW Strong Championship. And it's tremendous. It's such a tremendous story. And he finishes the story with Claudio. And I think if he didn't win, I feel like the Arthur Ashe Stadium was going to riot. I felt like
they just started some beer bottles throwing down, and it was heavy for that.
It would have
AEW is
been
not known
dangerous
for what I like about them, and as Team Babyface, is a good feel-good story. And so AEW has been known to give the hometown feel-good story, whether it be a Brian Pillman Jr. or, it doesn't have to be a top guy or girl. They're really cater to that, and that's smart. You want to give the people what they want, as Excalibur always says. And Eddie has had his battles and ups and downs, and has had good moments and has had moments where he's lost. But this was I think he's ready. Obviously, clearly, he's ready to carry the torch of the World Championship of Ring of Honor. And so, he's established himself now more mainstream for those Ring of Honor domestic fans, or I guess who are new fans, AEW fans, that will keep coming back and getting the Eddie. I mean, just listen to the pops. I mean, they're gonna follow him beyond seeing him on Dynamite. And so, great way to open the show, in my opinion.
Yeah. Tremendous. And Eddie is you just think about it. Was it 2 years ago? He had one match against Cody Rhodes, and it was the open challenge for the TNT, and he talked himself into a job. I mean, not that he did, get kudos to Cody and everybody for giving them the shot, but that was it. That was going to be it. He was going to go home, and that was it. And then now look at him, ROH champion. New Japan Strong Champion, and it's just tremendous. And that was such a great moment, such a great, like you said, just a great way to kick off the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a tough act to follow, but another one that delivered. I was pumped about this, being obviously a Jericho mark myself, and always a fan of Sammy Guevara, a guy who, I'll say it every time we talk about him, who's a person reason why you see a live show, to see the stuff that he does, and to see the heart and the drive that he has for the industry and for wrestling. It's just absolutely incredible stuff. And Jericho at his age is, I mean, I hate to even say age. I mean, who cares how old he is? What he's doing in the ring is way beyond his years, in my opinion. But that's beating a dead horse in a good way. But this match, I didn't expect what we saw after the fact. The sex gods were newly formed or reformed, essentially. And, they played to the story of, being allies since day one, which I liked. You have that essentially only brotherhood left of day one folks. Santana Ortiz, as obviously, are going little separate ways. Can you think of anybody who's been together since day one, Elite split up, that are not true tag teams? I sense
day one, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, other than just the Young Bucks, but
other than tag teams, like
tag teams,
right,
I mean, Sting and Darby have been together since
Yeah.
Sting showed up, but I mean that's kind of it wasn't like day one
Yeah.
kind of
So
feel.
this is like
Yeah.
pretty great relationship, and it's cool to see the video package they always put together of the growth Sammy had. He's had some amazing matches, great TNT title runs, and we're setting up to what we saw after the fact. I absolutely love. I mean, Don Callis is doing some amazing stuff, period. And so I think Sammy Guevara will benefit leaps and bounds with Don Callis's influence and Don Callis's shenanigans and Don Callis's heat, the spotlight that he's going to get with Don Callis and Takeshita. I mean, I think it's just a fantastic move, and I hope Don continues to start recruiting people. And what we saw, it's just, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I did, read up a little bit on Rampage spoilers, so it's definitely going to be some great stuff to tune in. I don't know if you did or not, but the story continues. The story. Hey, I'm a sucker for spoilers. I like to have things at my fingertips as much as possible, and if it happens, I'm still gonna watch it. Nothing's gonna change that. But it's just like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, what happened? What happened? What happened? And it's good and bad. We live in a day and age where you can get that, but at the same time, I almost wish you couldn't. I wish it was like, phones off. Everyone, keep the secret of what happens.
Yeah, you can't force people to do that though, and I get it. I mean, you're a journalist. We're journalists, damn it, and we got to get that scoop. So I'm not mad at that. And I am spoiled on one thing. I'm spoiled that Prince Nana brought the house down because he swerves when he drives. He swerves when he drives. He swerves when he drives.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
He had the whole place doing the swerve when they drive thing. It was awesome. So that's the only thing I am spoiled on. But this pairing, first of all, the match itself, win or lose, that match was putting Sammy over. I mean, it was already over, but that was basically the Jericho rub of approval. And granted, I think a lot of people expected Sammy to beat Jericho, to be like some kind of thing. I don't know if everybody did, but there was some question. But that was a perfect way to end it. And then here it is, because what's been going on ever since when Sammy started really getting booed and everybody was booing him, and they were slowly kind of trying to turn him face, with the all access or all access behind the scenes. Yeah, exactly. Oh, definitely want to talk about that too. But and they finally build him up to be this like he's almost baby face.
Right.
And then they snatch it away from all of us with this Don Callis edition. And I thought that was tremendous. That graphic though you put up, let's talk about that. That was a cool parallel. A lot of parallels to that WrestleMania with Jericho.
I love obviously Team Babyface, the pops that Sammy's been getting, and he's been getting better and better in promo. I mean, that all access stuff that he had, really, I was telling so many people, I'm like, man, how can you not be a Sammy fan now? How could you not be a Sammy fan? Just like the vulnerability and the drive and the love and the passion, everything that he's got, and the in-ring stuff. And he's just so lucky to be able to be a sponge around people like Jericho, a guy that he idoled and got to be shoulder to shoulder with him his whole AEW career, and now he is getting that Jericho rub. It's incredible. It's great for both guys to be able to have that as a wrestler that you're growing, and to have that as a wrestler as a vet. Like it's great for both guys. It's an iron sharpens iron moment where you have these two going head to head and being able to have this moment together, and really almost like your student is graduating, and to call back to this is 100% Jericho's idea. 100% got to be Jericho's idea. And the fact that Jericho brings things full circle, and it takes the internet to find that. This is a win for the internet. Whoever called this out and was like, that's this. And then we talk about later about the Bret Hart promo with the MJF stuff vignette. But so this is where social media wins, where you get these, we're like, okay, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. I forgot about that. And obviously that WrestleMania moment wasn't memorable, but like, I didn't think of that when I first saw that. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, Sammy's turning heel and this is all happening. Did you realize this was kind of, mimicking what we saw with Jericho back in the day?
A little bit, because I was tipped off with the light up vest. because the light up vest was the first nod, and I thought that was really cool, man. I really liked the yes. I thought that was like, okay, here we go. We're doing some nods. I didn't, and then I just got invested in the match, and I kind of lost any kind of parallel till again the internet wins the night. And I love this kind of stuff because you know the casual fan just gets to see an awesome match, but there's those kind of Easter eggs reward diehard fans for discovering that kind of stuff.
Great point.
It's one of those things where like it rewards you for like if you're aware of this. Like example, Minoru Suzuki. I had explained to Deb and Nacho Man Shane who Minoru Suzuki was, but those people that knew who he was when he debuted, they were ready to sing Kazi ni Nare. They knew it. And it's like whenever you see those moments and the connection, and we're probably going to be getting some kind of connections, Easter eggs coming up in the next few weeks. If you think you know him, if you know what I mean, you know him.
Whisper it.
Yeah, you think you know me.
You think,
yes,
oh
exactly.
That's
exactly.
Gonna be, so. Not to get sidetracked on that too much, but Jericho is throwing out little softballs about Edge on his Twitter, which he's known to do about a new signing. It would take a lot for him not to show up, in my opinion. I think Edge has got a lot in his tank. I'm just curious of placement. I'm not worried of where. I'm just curious for my own sake. I'm like, where do you go? Do you jump into that deep end of the Christian Cage feud, or do you kind of do your own thing, wait for Christian Cage to run the heel thing, and then they team together, or they feud together, then eventually team together to kind of like end out their contractor run? Because Cage, I mean, what we're going to see on Collision is the handicap, aka three-way match.
Yeah.
Does Cage officially become the champion? What do we see here?
Oh, there's so many ways you can go with this one. Now my armchair booking is not going to happen. I know it won't, but this is my own little fantasy. Is
please enlighten us.
The three-way starts Luchasaurus versus Christian Cage versus Darby, and it's the three of them going at it, but something's a little off with Luchasaurus. Looks a little different. And then there's a report backstage that the real Luchasaurus got knocked out and someone stole his mask. And then Luchasaurus retains the TNT title, takes off the mask, and it's Edge. But that's not going to happen. And I know that's stupid, but that's just my own little...
No, that's the whole thing of like Undertaker as Kane.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think of.
Yes.
Luchasaurus is a specimen in amongst himself, and Edge is in great shape. It would be a little challenging to kind of mimic his build in my sense, but Edge is in good shape, and he's one of the best shape in his career at this stage and age. I think that would be really intriguing and would be pretty interesting. But when MJF came out with the devil mask, and I was texting Crayfish and our other friend, and I was like, that's MJF. I'm like, look at his butt. And I was like, look at his I was checking out MJF's butt. And I was like, in the way he like, kicks his feet at the ring, I was like, that's what MJF does. Or, he's
a natural kicking his feet.
Yeah. Not the kangaroo kick. But I was like, that's gotta be MJF. And everyone on the internet were like talking, we were looking for things, and I was like, yep, and then sure enough.
Yeah.
When he came out with that devil mask and stole the chip?
Yeah, the chip. Well, he didn't. He got it from Stokely. Stokely.
I mean, that's a whole other thing, man. The firm was so good. But anyways, as we digress,
breaking up the firm got us the Gun Club with Bullet Club Gold, though. So guns up. I'm not mad at that. It also brought us Starks and Big Bill. So there's some good things that have come out of it. Just really quickly, though, you asked the question. Honestly, I want heel Christian. I was hoping this would stay forever. It might be interesting if Christian tries to do the finger poke of doom on Luchasaurus, but it doesn't have it doesn't go or something like that. I don't know. There's so many ways you can go. Honestly, I think you keep it'd be interesting to keep, because part of me thinks, you've got to put Edge and Christian together. That's what everybody's wanting for. But then what if you keep them separated? And what if you purposely keep them separated until eventually you get a casino battle royal and they end up facing each other? And then you have that pop moment.
Little seeds planted of them almost brushing past, almost crossing past, almost coming face to face. And then, then the ultimate payoff would be either them joining as a team or them facing each other. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, or please enlighten me, how many times have they faced each other? Was there often a feud of them two together?
There was just that one feud. Really, that was just that one main feud when Christian when WWF got sued by Queen. But it was when because I thought Christian's original music actually slapped, but it was that Christian at last you're on your own, and it was Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah. But I think that was pretty much it. I mean, I as far as I know, and then I kind of got out of WWE not long after that. But there's something interesting too to know that Edge was raised by a single mother. He didn't really have a father. His father's no longer with us.
I don't want Christian to go that far on his buddy. I would play it safe. I would do separate builds, keep them as separate stars. Mm-hmm. Wait for this heel Christian to run its course, which has been, I think we're still in its infancy, hopefully, because it's great stuff. And then go on a run. I think they're an actual nostalgic team that could go on a good tag team run. The Hardys, I think that ship. I think that ship has sailed.
I would love for at least once the Hardys versus Edge and Christian, like one. No,
I would love that a TLC match, match. Throw in the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers. It's a 4-way, kind of like passing the torch to the now. Mm-hmm. That would be there. It is right there. We say it right now on September 21st. We're gonna call a 4-way match for the tag team titles. Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks versus the Hardys and Edge and Christian.
Passing the torch.
Awesome.
Yeah, that would be.
Speaking of Lucha Brothers, let's talk about a very controversial and exciting match, in my opinion. We had two of the best ring announcers from Justin Roberts. We got Jon Moxley and Rey Fenix, one of my favorite. Rey Fenix has consistently been, I will say it, in my top 3 wrestlers in AEW for ever since I first locked eyes on him. So Rey Fenix, I love Lucha Brothers. They are my favorite tag team in AEW, and Rey Fenix is one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW for his
that's right.
That's right.
And agrees. Yes. Animal.
And Moxley has been obviously the MVP of AEW. Yes. And it was just unfortunate the way it happened, but I think this match was a fantastic way to start. The way they started it. Hold on.
And I love that there were so many great moments. I mean, we're going to talk about the hard part here in just a little bit, but like there were moments like when Rey Fenix is doing all this flippy stuff and he comes up to Moxley just punches him. That was almost like an Indiana Jones, like Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the guy's flipping the sword and he just shoots him. It was kind of along those lines. What's cool about Moxley, I've said this before, and I think we've said this before in the show, is Moxley doesn't have a wide variety of moves. He doesn't have a move set. Like he doesn't have a lot of moves, but he knows what he can do. But you can put him against anyone, and he'll make it work. Like he could wrestle Rey Fenix one night, wrestle Danielson another night. He could wrestle Keith Lee and then turn around and wrestle Strickland. He can adapt to any wrestler, and it looks natural and legit. He's a fighter. I don't think Moxley's a wrestler. I think he's a fighter. That's what I think.
Clearly, he shows color every single week. This was so. I was so happy that Moxley won. I was there live at All Out, and seeing him defeat freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. But obviously, the thing that overtakes this match, being a great match, in my opinion, inside and outside the ring, was brutal. And in a typical Moxley match, and in someone as athletic and as creative as Ray Phoenix, I think he held his ground very well. Moxley did take a few headshots. It's weird. Before this night happened, I was thinking to myself throughout the week, I'm like, man, Moxley has not gotten hurt. Like, he hasn't had any serious injuries. It was weird. I
Way
just had
to
this
go,
theory.
SBD. You jinxed
I know.
him.
I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. And what happened here, it was kind of bizarre. And I'm curious your thoughts. How would you have handled it if you were the referee? There was a lot of criticism online of Rick Knox, the way he handled this. Obviously, this wasn't the planned ending. And there was a video surfacing, I don't know if you saw it, of when Alex Reynolds got knocked out in a 8-man tag.
Yep.
And he was just literally unconscious in the ring. And Knox was the referee and didn't really attend. Obviously, in an 8-man tag, a lot is going on. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt to the guy in stripes. It is a lot of movement. And, wrestlers can sell or they cannot sell. And they're supposed to sell amazing. Back, real quick, Sammy Guevara sold that code breaker amazing. He was like a wet noodle as soon as he got hit by that.
I can see the birds around his head.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would you what would you have done? It's such a split-second decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to be an armchair referee as it is to be an armchair Tony Khan. Yeah, you can sit there and go, I would have seen this concussion. I certainly wouldn't have let him do 2 pile drivers.
No.
But there's a lot to consider what's going on here. First of all, it's John Moxley. I mean, how long ago was it that he had freaking chopsticks in his freaking head? Right?
By far the toughest guy.
How can you tell when John Moxley is injured? I mean, he eats breakfast and starts bleeding. I mean, this guy, he's constantly looking like he just got hit by a semi truck. So
and he's looking for a fight.
He's looking for a fight, and he sells very well. So to really catch when he's actually injured, it takes a while. Plus, now you've got things happen so fast during these matches,
very fast,
where he has to let Phoenix know that there's going to be that they're going to do an audible, and he has to let Knox know. But he has to do, if this happened during that first pile driver, he barely could say anything. It's kind of like when if you remember when Anna Jay was supposed what's his name Cool Hand was supposed to put her hand on the rope and she pulled it away. Like, you can't really you can't sit there and just say call hey Knox, don't count to 3, or hey Knox, count to 3 and let him pin me, because then everybody's you're spoiling the business. So it's really tough to kind of do that. Some people are saying that the injury actually didn't start, or something was off already back when he was hanging from the railing. Full Tilt Deb saw it, that he whispered something to Phoenix right then. Something was already off.
He took Moxley. A couple big bumps that are not abnormal for Moxley, but sometimes you can take those 20 shots to the head and just that one fluke incident.
Yeah.
Obviously pile drivers is brutal anyways. But yeah, there's a couple ones. I mean, I saw a video of him headbutting the camera and then taking essentially a flip off the ropes from Phoenix and then landing on the ground outside the ring. Yeah. No, I agree with you. This is a tough situation. I support the decision, and I support the way everything played out. Like, I'm happy for it. Ray Phoenix. I love Phoenix, and for him to have that audible, because it happened to him. He broke his arm. They lost the tag titles to Jurassic Express. So it's full circle for him in an unfortunate way, but it's full circle. And I think someone like Ray Phoenix fits that bill for an international champion perfectly, in my opinion. Yeah. And I hope we get a little bit of a run out of him before he has a rematch with Moxley. But then this business moves at 100 miles an hour, and you have such a short amount of time to tell a story, and you have to make those split decisions. Who's to say they're right or wrong? Obviously health and safety is number one, but someone like Moxley, who takes so much abuse and is such at the top of his game at all times, it's hard to really make that decision. I mean, if it was the pile driver and then he didn't kick out right away, after you see him not count to 3, then you see some Mox yell something. And so, I'm all for the way it planned out, and I think doing double pile driver, picking him up versus a roll up, which I absolutely hate, was the right decision. And I bet you, I would feel very confidently Moxley would have said like you did the right thing.
Yeah, I don't think I certainly don't think the boys and girls in the back are holding Rick Knox accountable for this. I mean, I think there's a lot of armchair refs. I think I mean, you think about it too. Mike Santana does a street fight with best friends, and it's carnage. Gets thrown into cars, blah 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 blah, glass, everything. How does he get injured for over a year? a silly move. He doesn't get thrown. I mean, granted, it was happening in the I almost said War Games.
Grayfish and I were there live for it, and we watched Santana get hurt.
But you see his leg. It was a freaky little thing with his leg, and he's out. So injuries happen. Injuries are going to happen, and you've got to call those audibles. I just think it was a situation. The only thing I would say to Knox going forward is just in that situation, you got to do 3. You got to, if it's like, if you're like this and he kicks out and he doesn't kick out, you got to tap and just be like, hey, he tapped or whatever. But I mean, that's nothing. I don't think Knox did anything wrong. I think they all tried to handle it as best they could. Heck, Moxley might not have even known to call the audible or been aware to call the audible until right at that moment. So
I've never had a concussion, and I'm sure, well, maybe I have. I don't know, playing sports and stuff. But if you're concussed, you're not coherent. You can't see clearly.
Yeah.
No matter how tough you are. And so Moxley, even if, let's say he did 3 on that count, and Moxley were to snap out of it, or it wasn't as serious as it is, you could have swerved and been like, just go with it. And he gets in Knox's face. He almost beats him up and like demands the match to restart and to like win his title back or something like that. Like that.
Or you build it to next week. You know, he gets mad. He grabs a chair and he says, "You do the Ray Phoenix."
Yeah, you could have gone that way.
Up. Exactly. I think that's. Oh wow. The Raz just said something. Can we jump on this real quick?
Yeah.
Did we just get 100 episodes? What is this?
This is officially, I know I should have made a better deal of this, or a bigger deal of this. I'm looking for this graphic, but officially, I know we've done special edition episodes and all that, but to just recap and cover Dynamite, where we officially started Dynamite Download. This is Dynamite Download episode 100, which is absolutely incredible to say. And we're going to be working on our new graphic very, very soon, where we got all 3 Dukes in the center of the Dynamite Download logo plus the championship belt.
Nice.
But yeah, Dynamite Download episode
Congratulations,
100, man. It's been a journey, that's for sure.
That's fantastic. You know, I almost wish we had a celebrity or somebody lined up to.
I thought about yes, it's just timing and stuff. Like it would have been cool to have a little cameo, reach out to that, and have all 3 of us here. But
you do never know.
So much go on.
You never know who's listening, though. That's right, SPD. You never know. 100 episodes, SPD. That's awesome. Guns up. Guns up, baby. That's right. You got to be rock hard to get 100 episodes. I'm going to take a sip of whatever Mindrunner was drinking here for a second. I'm a little parched. That's cheers why hey, cheers. Yeah, that's right. Guns up, baby. We are the stars of Collision. So that's the show you got to look forward to this weekend.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I just wanted to say congratulations, Dukes, on your 100 episodes. Tell the crayfish I'm looking for him. That's right. I can't line my mouth up all right. There we go.
Yeah,
Congratulations,
easy on the powder donuts there, Rock Hard.
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of powder in the room of the Bullet Club Gold. Yeah, I use cardboard switchblade. I sometimes, he helps me with the powder that keeps me rock hard. Woo-hoo-hoo. Well, guns up there, DDL, and I will catch you later.
See you later, Rock Hard. Guns up always. Oh, you're back. All right.
Hey, yeah, I just had to take a sip of
Oh, okay. Welcome
juice
back.
there.
Hey, you got
Well,
some good juice over
congratulations.
there?
Huh?
You got some good
Yeah.
juice?
Yeah, some good juice. That was some good juice right there.
Nice. As a hot topic button is the women's division that we're going to shift
Yes.
to. Saraya
Yes.
versus Tony Storm, and it looks the way, unfortunately, that maybe the Outsiders have lost a member officially after this point, based on the entrances, and the pairing of Saraya and Ruby is still a thing. Maybe they'll get a new member of the Outsiders eventually, but we'll see. But this match, I think, as I agree with another win for the social media, that the crowd really was helped this match. It wasn't the best wrestled match of the night. By far it wasn't, but storytelling that Tony Storm was having all throughout the match has really been gold, and all throughout the last few months. Yes. Bringing in the shoes, the whole turnbuckle stuff.
Yes.
The kiss seen around the world. And so I think that storytelling in this match and with these two women was fantastic.
Tremendous.
I absolutely loved it. It was tremendous. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I did a hot take earlier this week on Jade going to WWE, and one of the reasons why it's good for Jade is that the AEW women's division needs to really work on its direction, its storylines. They've got great talent. The women are working really hard, but they need some great storylines. But here is exactly what I'm talking about. The storytelling in this match was tremendous. This character turn of Tony Storm out of nowhere is brilliant. Absolutely really nowhere. And it's brilliant, and it's the kind of stuff that really makes for compelling matches. Shout out to Arthur Ashe Stadium crowd too. They were fire. Several wrestlers tweeted out recognizing how fire the crowd was. I know we were talking on the group text that this crowd was great, and they really were invested into this match. The match itself was great. I mean, it wasn't like neither one of them were doing anything on the level of like Ray Phoenix or Moxley or any of these other guys. It was great from the storytelling, from in their box of tools, what they can do in their wheelhouse. They kept it in their wheelhouse, and they played up to it. Of course, the Tony Storm going under the ring, coming out with two shoes, one in her hand, one stuck in her, beware the shoe. The whole thing with the turnbuckle and Saraya's neck was very, very cool. I thought that was real. That was great storytelling, and it's good that I think Saraya needs to hang on to the title for a little bit. I thought that was good. I do think they will need and probably will get a third member. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Absolution in WWE. It was Paige, now Saraya. Sonya Deville was one of them, and who's the other member of that group? Oh yeah, Mandy Rose, who is a free agent and recently said she might not be a free agent much longer. So we might be seeing the third new member of the Outcast be a certain Mandy Sachs, which would be really, really cool. But
that gives you instant feuds, instant feud with Tony Storm. And then Tony Storm almost can do what we always wanted to do, was kind of have a faction versus faction feud, which we never still got with the Outsiders. So I think even though Tony's kind of a little bit of delusional bipolar right now in a good way, it needs, the division. To your hot take about Jade, she gave us everything that she could in AEW at the moment. I miss her. I think she's a star, and I think it was an unfortunate loss, but it's almost like, thank you, next. Like, what more? Is she going to go on another streak?
Yeah. It's kind of like Cody. I mean, from the standpoint of, keeping Jade in AEW, she would die on the vine. She's already grown, and it's not saying like her going to WWE is going to be great for her because she's already a star. She's already going to blow up. But also, if she stayed, the only thing she would have is to go for the AEW title, and Saraya just won it. It's kind of, I think she needs to explore now she's got a whole new roster. Hopefully a whole new roster after today, but she's got a whole new roster of competitors and dream matchups now. Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair. There's so many there. And also for AEW, because as much as I'll always love Jade. She's one of my favorites all time because of the growth that she's had. But
it's been fun.
There are so many other women that need that spotlight in AEW now. Willow, excuse me. But there's so many.
Too.
Did he say Willow also? But there's so many. I mean, we haven't seen Abaddon in so long. I think Emi Sakura needs a huge push. I think there's a lot of women that
her and Chris.
They really need the spotlight, and Jade going on to her spot. And here's the thing: she may go to WWE. She gets noticed. Now all of a sudden maybe she gets that acting gig she's wanted for some time.
I mean, she looks like a real life superstar, or superhero. So, I wasn't sour about her leaving, and I'm glad she left on good terms. Mm-hmm. Who knows, if you watch Cody Rhodes' documentary on Peacock, I think it was, I don't know if you watched it or not, but it was really good. And he mentions AEW a few times and just how he almost personnel reasons. And so that makes me wonder, I'm like, wonder what that was all about. But anyways, this didn't seem like that. So the women's division does need a lot of help, but the talent is there. Mm-hmm. The storyline and the direction is not there currently. It is, let's just say, part of it is. It needs to be like full force ahead. You need to have if you're booking matches on Rampage and in Collision, you need to have just best foot forward in terms of every feud you have. And I don't think they do. They have like, awesome little feud here, but it's just, it's not like the best foot forward at the current. So I don't know what it's going to take. But it's always been a hot button topic here on Dynamite Download, from episodes 1 through 10 early on. So I'm still, before we talk about the main event, two people that are very familiar with this show, when do you think or want and where do we see Thunder and Wardlow back?
All right.
Hold on.
I got two very
for a refill.
Yeah, I have two very opposite takes on these people because I like both of them tremendously. And by the way, that's awesome. You have the Young Bucks brew right there. Is that the Young Bucks Coffee House brew?
Yes, it is. It's the Hung Bucks brew from
Hung Bucks brew. That's right. All right, Thunder. Well, here's the thing. Tony needs to stop messing around, and we need that OGs versus Outcast blow off. I don't know if he's waiting still for Jamie Hayter to return. I'm not sure what's going on, but we need that blow off, and it would be so tremendous. There's the stories right there. Have Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, they have to put aside their differences to face a common enemy. I mean, the pop that's going to happen when you hear Thunder, when you hear that music, it's going to be off the charts. I mean, the crowd's going to go nuts. Here's the sad thing is I don't think that they fully resolved the backstage issues. And the fact that the CM Punk Jock Perry thing happened, that's an indicator that things kind of get brushed under the rug sometimes instead of actually dealt with. When Marina Shafir and Tony Storm Marina Shafir and Thunder Rosa had an issue, they fixed it themselves. The two of them broke bread together and they hashed it out. I don't see from the All Access, which I know it's hyped up. I'm not sure everybody's warm and fuzzy in the locker room about Thunder Rosa. I don't know if she's just going to stay on Collision. So if we're not able to do that Outcast versus OG's match, I think, and it's weird because now Andrade's feuding with Bullet Club Gold. But I thought if they stuck with Andrade versus House of Black, somebody had mentioned that it would be cool to see Thunder join Andrade and take on Julia Hart.
Right.
Which would be interesting. But I think we're getting close. Thunder just had her vlog today where she was showing footage of her in the ring with Laney Luck. And she's getting there. So I think she's imminent. I think by Full Gear, she'll be back wrestling. But I don't know. Wardlow, on the other hand,
before you mention Wardlow, I think in a perfect world, I would like to see, I've always said the outsider as well, the outsider Survivor Series type of match versus the OG AEW. But it would be awesome to have that. And then Thunder, she needs to instantly be back in the title picture. I don't want her, as much as that whole thing with Andrade. And, I was saying it too with House of Black and joining them, with Julia Hart. I want her to be back at the top where she left. And so for her to get involved with the Outcast and Saraya and dethrone her, I want her to dethrone her and get her title back. And then go from there, do that team up with Britt Baker and try to get some, because I think honestly, Britt Baker needs some help getting her popularity back. Yeah. I think she's lost some of that star power in a little bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know how or why, and not in my eyes, but just based on the reactions and stuff we're seeing and the way she's been booked. But if you have a hot baby face come back like Thunder and instantly get back in the title picture, come to Britt's aid. That way, Thunder is essentially the Adam Cole, the red hot baby face, and Britt Baker's getting that Adam Cole rub of getting, over even more. And then you could have them be frenemies for a little while, and then you just down the line 6 months revisit that Britt Baker Thunder Rosa feud. Somehow, which that we all loved.
I hate to break it to Team Babyface, but I don't think Britt Baker works as a face. I think she works better. Actually, I agree. Let me take it back. Let me rephrase it. She's a lot like MJF, and she only works as a bitch, but she could be our bitch. But you know what I mean? Just like MJF.
She's our bitch. We'll just have those instead of she's our scumbag.
She's peak awesome and over when she's making those chubby Whataburger comments, when she's being Britt Baker.
I agree.
And like this, when she, and I noticed that like she almost a throwback to when she first started. Because when she first started, they were kind of trying to push her. AEW wasn't sure who their babyface main female wrestler was. For a while, it was Allie, aka the Bunny. And then they thought it was going to be this. And then they tried to push Britt as a baby face, and she just it was not natural. It was only until she really embraced that heel that she really was over. And that's what she needs to do. She needs to get back to that DMD. She needs to get back to that. And I think she was kind of there. She was kind of becoming the Reba to Jamie Hayter for a while until Jamie Hayter got injured. And it was and I think the direction's been lost other than the Outcast stuff. The direction's kind of been lost. Like, for a while they're kind of pushing Sky Blue, and then she lost, and then Taya Valkyrie, they don't seem to know where to put her. There's a lot of lost stuff, and I think they really need to sit down and just map out. Basically, they need to map out between now and Revolution what they want to happen, and have backup plans instead of injuries. But Britt needs to go back to being the heel we love, and she needs to kind of start to get. I don't know if a winning streak so much as I think she needs some more promos. Maybe takes another wrestler under her wing and kind of mentor her, but also kind of in a condescending way. I don't know. There's something needs to happen, and instead of marking time and waiting for Hayter to come back. But I don't think Britt going for the title is the answer.
That's where you go into pairing of Thunder, get the pop, let them have their shine, their break bread. Think it's okay. think it's okay for week in and week out, week, week, boom, and then DMD turning on Thunder, then you get the ultimate heel turn.
DJ Crazy Times has an idea, and it's better than world peace. Here's what we do. Forget all the others. We can still have the blow off and blah blah blah. We need to follow what made Adam Cole and MJF such a sensation. Introduce women's tag team titles for AEW and have a lottery system to pick the tag teams. And Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa tag team. And have
it can work again.
Well, it doesn't have to work. Like it could actually be like that they can't get along or something they don't advance because we want to put the belts on Penelope and the Bunny, or maybe we want to put Renegade Twins. But like I think that would be compelling TV. I think that it's time, and I think it's time to pull the trigger on the tag belts. We've said, they got to get direction first. I think this is the direction. Because you've got to give the rest of the talent something to do besides go after the TBS or women's title. And granted, there's supposed to be that Sheeta versus Britt feud, but I don't know what's going on with that. We haven't seen anything. Maybe something will come up. But now get those titles, get something else, something new and shiny to chase for. And I think the tag team titles, that would be it. And I think that would be, you could really pair up some interesting combinations. Nyla and Sky Blue, I don't know, Nyla and somebody, there's so many things you can do, and there's ways you can, there you go, Nyla and Rio. That would be tremendous.
Anyway, so real quick, what about Wardlow?
Do you have Brent,
a thought on that, which we can revisit?
What's that?
Do you have a Wardlow booking where you would have in mind a reintroduction?
I do. WWE. I'm sorry. He needs a restart. I feel like he kind of losing the TNT title and getting it back and losing the way that kind of went down. He's a tremendous talent and he's great, but I don't see creative doesn't have any hits. Other than putting him in a tag team with somebody, but I don't know.
I hate giving him losses, but what if it's another notch on our champion's belt to defeat Wardlow, who defeated him?
Oh, there you go.
To segue into MJF versus Samoa Joe, MJF is revisiting all these old situations and other things, and really starting to get a long laundry list of great title defenses. And, not many people have beat MJF. No one has beat MJF the way Wardlow did. So if you put Wardlow back into the main event picture and MJF versus Wardlow, and you have that awesome match where MJF does beat Wardlow, then it's a 1-for-1. Then you could down the line have a, as they did with Brian Cage and Hangman, it's the match number 3. And so putting Wardlow back in the main event picture will be a positive for him. Losing to MJF, who's been really, to me, accelerating and doing some awesome stuff the last 2 to 4 months with his title reign. I really think he's winning me over with his title reign, the way he has been performing and just being over the top cheesy babyface. You still
can't claim him as babyface, though. You can't claim him.
He'll always be a heel. He'll still always be a scumbag. But I think that would be a good, because right now maybe you can have him face Roderick Strong down the line, kind of stay intertwined with that stuff. But I think Wardlow makes sense to challenge him within the near future. Does Wardlow dethrone him? Unfortunately, I don't think the momentum is there at the moment. In the past, I thought that, but I think it would be pretty cool to have MJF versus Wardlow revisit that. And that's just essentially like, you're someone, you're on my list that, I need to conquer, essentially.
Yeah, but the problem with that, and it can be done, and I really like what you're saying. What you'd have to do, though, is Wardlow's got to come back hungry, and he's got to get a winning streak before he can do that, because he's like,
Earn
if
his
he
shot.
just came back and flat out just somehow is in a title shot with MJF, people are going to turn on him, and people are already kind of turning. I mean, people are cheering MJF. Maybe you bring him back as a heel. Maybe he comes back and he's bitter. Maybe he feels Arn Anderson softened him or something, or maybe he's blaming everybody for his losses, and so now he's more vicious. There's a number of things that you can do. I can see. I think it works if. I think it works if Wardlow challenges MJF as a heel, which where before he turned face against MJF. I think somehow Wardlow's got to almost get out of control, and
he needs
maybe
to go out of control, violent, and just literally like beating people, then beating them up after the bell, and just continuing to beat them. Like, he's just on this warpath. I think it would be fun to see this heel Wardlow, and almost not necessarily full heel, but just like an angry Wardlow, and which teeters with like a Stone Cold, where you're cheering for him because it's cool, but also he's angry in a heel sense. Like, I don't care about any of you or anybody, but I'm just here to whoop ass and take names
and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Yeah. I have an idea. All right, bear with me. This just popped in my head. Bear with me.
Yeah.
Dark Order recruits member number 69 or something like that, and it's this new masked guy, this new masked wrestler, not 10, but this new masked beast. He's this masked wrestler. He's got a Dark Order mask, but it looks like Bane. And he just comes in and he just starts destroying fools. And Evil Uno's laughing, and he's at ringside laughing, and he just goes on this. He squashes some people, and then he even starts getting some big scalps. He maybe even beats some higher level people, maybe even Hangman or something. And then he gets, it's like they're all excited. We're getting this guy. Dark Order 69, he earns himself a title shot against MJF. And everyone's like, who is this guy? And then finally he gets in the ring, pulls the mask off, and it's Wardlow. I know. It's stupid.
What if it... So I'm just thinking, I love Dark Order, but I'm thinking the connection of Wardlow and Dark Order. What if it was like Ryback?
Yeah. Well, okay, that would no, but there was a time where they were trying to recruit Wardlow.
They kept recruit everyone, and I Dark Order needs and deserves another recruit and some push. I like this kind of heel turn stuff they do. They need a henchman. They need a Satnam Singh kind of guy. They need someone like that. And so I don't know who that could be.
Wardlow.
Yeah, I mean, look within. Don't you don't have to outsource. You can almost just look within. That's what a lot of AWW was famous for, is just rebranding, and a lot of times it worked. And, a lot of times it didn't work too. So but the main event, we'll shift back to that. So what MJF or Samoa Joe, man, this was quite an ass whooping by Samoa Joe. And, I was very, very impressed with the way MJF handled himself against Samoa Joe. And I was, really captivated by this match and impressed. Surprised by the ending with the handshake. But Joe is one of those, back to like a Stone Cold, like a teeter, obviously he's got those heel vibes, but it's like those such great heel vibes where you want to root for him. And cheer for him, and Joe is going to kill you, and chant Joe, 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 which I always do. I think this feud elevated Joe a lot in a short amount of time, and MJF really, to me, showed a lot of heart and a lot of guts in this match, with just taking the abuse that Joe gave him. Very, very tough match to go through with Joe. And I did like the finish. And you got to, he's a scumbag for a reason. And you're not going to beat Joe clean. And Joe almost is like, yep, I respect you for cheating to win. You did what you had to do. Unless Joe didn't know he had the chain. So we'll see. But on that part, I really like the main event, and I think it was well wrestled. And Adam Cole, hopefully he's not hurt. And what did you think?
Well, okay. The match itself, first of all, Samoa Joe earned a ton more cool points that he already had a ton. The way he was selling MJF's kickouts, like he had this couple moments where he looked like, what do I have to do?
He kicked out on a lot of big moves.
There were some moments where like Samoa Joe thought he almost had a cocky pin, thought this is it. I've beat this kid. And he kicks out, and Samoa Joe has this look. They zoom in. He's like what happened? There were so many cool moments, cool spots. I know Samoa Joe starts sweating before he gets down to the ring, but
that's why he's got the towel.
Yeah, he's got the towel. But he was, for a guy where he's at, he was doing again and again. MJF and Samoa Joe, kind of the same as Moxley, is they can have a match with anybody, and they can make it work. And I felt like the back and forth it was more Samoa Joe beating MJF's ass and MJF finding a way out of it. But sometimes that's what you have. I mean, MJF didn't go full Darby, where you just get ragdolled all the time. But I mean, that was kind of the story.
Close.
Yeah, but I like that we're keeping MJF our scumbag. He's not going. I mean, and let's talk about the beginning of the callback to Bret Hart and telling the kid he's adopted. That was tremendous. I mean, but
another win for social media, letting us get to that so fast in the comparison.
Yeah, and I think the Bret Hart call was actually a callback to what's the guy? Hey, babe, what's the football player that gave his jersey to that kid?
Oh, in the commercial?
Yeah. There was that commercial. We're skilled journalists here at Dynamite Download. We're on top. If it's not wrestling, exactly. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, we'll put it in post credit. It was that football player, and he threw his jersey to a kid, and that good luck, champ, that kind of thing. So, anyways, yeah, call back to Bret Hart, call back to all that, and that was tremendous. We're keeping MJF our scumbag, and I know Crayfish hates MJF now because he thinks he's gone team face, but no, he's Mean Joe Green. Thank you. Mean Joe Green. That's what it was.
Straight from the war room.
Yeah, straight from the full tilt war room over there. Thank you, hon. I love you. But
that's great.
Yeah, see, we got our sources right off the
live source checker.
Live source checker. Joe Rogan's got his Jamie. We've got our full tilt Deb. But the aftermath. Plus, okay, the injury to Adam Cole. Rumor has it that Adam Cole purposely injured his foot just so that he could be in the hospital bed next to Roderick Strong.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That would be something to lean into. And then you could have Roderick Strong and MJF kind of feuding down the line. I mean, they're still intertwined. I think the Roderick Strong stuff is pretty comical. I think he's really running with it, and that the neck brace stuff, the neck strong and the reading the card. I'm happy.
And shout out to the Kingdom too.
Yeah, I'm happy for them to get a little spotlight here with this. I think it's really cheesy, over the top, and Adam. I don't know the end game of this. Like, what do you think the end game of this is?
Oh, who knows? And I don't know if there's going to be an end game anytime soon. But how hilarious would it be if there was a hospital brawl? Remember this Stone Cold and Vince? Had the
how could you
bedpan.
One of the most iconic scenes, getting hit in the head with a bedpan.
We've got to have Dr. MJF. We've got to have Dr. MJF show up and pull that homage to Stone Cold and Vince McMahon. Yeah. There's got to be that moment. But what's going to happen, of course, is Roderick's going to continue to really start to prey on Adam. Adam's going to start to give in, and that's when MJF realizes he's got to put the kibosh on Roderick, and he's got to pull it, and hopefully we'll get that moment. It'd be cool to have. Yeah, exactly. But you're right. What's that?
Yeah. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, you brought up something earlier that got me really thinking, because MJF is kind of doing a like callback to his history, because he had was it that Alex Reynolds was his mentor at Creative Pro. He had the match with the tag match against FTR. Their former Pinnacle guys.
Yep.
You've got the Wardlow thing would fit perfectly with that.
That's one of those that is really sticking at the top of my list of like where do you do it? I think you could reintroduce Wardlow soon and have it at Revolution, because Wardlow has been known to be Mr. Revolution. And I don't remember where MJF and Wardlow fought. Was it Double or Nothing in Vegas? I think it was, because that's where rumored were MJF left and stuff. Like, he's on a plane back home, and he ended up showing up. We're like, is he going to show up? And then
and they put the mask over his eyes instead of his mouth.
And so I think you could push this. I think Wardlow has got to be one of the more marquee matches that he's going to have.
Yeah.
And you have to build it right. You have to really build it right. I don't know who do you see contending for the title anytime soon? Like what other superstars do you see that could be, other than the obvious Roderick Strong? Like, I don't know. No one comes to mind at the moment.
I don't think Roderick's going to be able to challenge for the title.
Maybe they'll do a tag match or something, or even
it's going to depend on Adam Cole, because I figured what they'll do is they'll teeter-totter between ROH tag team defenses and MJF singles. But you're right. They who's platformed, who's set up to be the next contender. It's kind of hard to say at this point, and I don't know if they had somebody. I will say somebody that comes to mind is the recently dethroned Claudio. Maybe Claudio becomes kind of a new person to go after the title. There's a number of people. I don't think Hobbs is done with Miro just yet. I hope we get the Meaty Men back. I thought that'd be tremendous.
I hope so too. That was so fun. It's not to cut you off, but at All Out, that was one of the most fun matches that I was a part of. Just the constant meat. The chant, the Chicago crowd, got to give them props, man. They really hijacked that match and made that match one of the more memorable matches of All Out, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of.
That was tremendous. The Meaty Men slapping man meat. That should be we are getting the Orange Cassidy and Hook tag team. Somebody said this online. I hope their tag team name is called Tag Team. That just needs to be their name. Just tag team, or even just team. Because Hook and OC, they're that's their mannerism. That would be totally the best thing to do. But MJF.
I don't know who would contend coming up.
And it depends on what Callis has got in mind. Do we go with somebody from his family? I mean, it sounds like he's more focused on destroying Kenny, but I don't know.
Jericho.
It's going to be Jericho just got the win.
Are we going to have a Alpha Omega reunion tag team?
Ooh, interesting. Tell us in the comments below. Tell us who you think.
Yeah.
Who do you think?
I'm stumped, but I just keep going back to Wardlow, man. I would love to see him fight. Mm-hmm. And if you could do you think, or do you feel, or would want, 3 questions at once, if Wardlow can pick up a 2 to 4 month momentum of a reintroduction, revamped, and really go on a rampage, could you see him ever dethroning MJF?
Under the right circumstances, yes. Here's the thing, though, because MJF's got to still even if he loses it here soon, he'll have to get it back. MJF has got to have the belt during the bidding war of 2024.
Well, that's like 3 months away, is it not?
Exactly. I think that I think if you're going to have Wardlow go against MJF, it's going to have to be at Revolution. It's not going to be anytime soon. I think Full Gear is even too close to build up anything.
Is way too close.
But I could see Winter is Coming being the earliest that you could you could go with that. But yeah, definitely, I think you could do that. But MJF they've got to deal with this whole Roderick Strong situation, the tag team belts. But you've got to build up some, and that's the thing I wish that sometimes AEW really, and I know injuries happen, but I'd love to see several like start building those candidates now. Like start building, like have Hobbs continue to go on a winning streak. Have Miro to, have them set up so that when they finally do challenge the man, MJF, everybody knows, oh, of course it's going to be this person. The other
Is there anyone you could think that would, if you could pick right now, fantasy book, let's say 1 to 2 or 3 people that you could see as the next champ, who would you want? Because, I like always thinking of this, and right now I just can't think of anybody really.
In the context of a proper build-up, right? Not like in next month.
Not like given the landscape right now, in a proper build-up, what superstars would you
to dethrone MJF?
Yeah, would you want as a fantasy booker?
There's 3 names come to mind. I would like to see Adam Cole defeat MJF. There's so much story there.
Okay.
Also, Switchblade. I think Switchblade would be great, and putting that strap on Bullet Club Gold for as far as they've come already. I mean, getting them to that point, I think that's inevitable.
I love that.
But number 3, whose house?
Swerve's house.
Cause I swerve when I drive and I float when I'm ride. Dynamite download on your vibe in the vibe. Cause I swerve when I drive. I think we need Swerve. Swerve needs that strap. Swerve is tremendous.
I would really, I was thinking Miro was on my list just off the cuff. I haven't really analyzed that, but I really think Bullet Club Gold would be fantastic. Jay White has been very protected in AEW, as he should, given his resume. So they are doing a good job, unlike some other people that they've brought and then signed. I think that would be perfect, and it's great to have a champion in a faction, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think Jericho, Omega a little bit, Moxley it did stand on his own, but I do like Swerve, but I think, unfortunately, given the landscape he's at right now, he's far from that. Now, if or when he beats Hangman at Wrestle Dream, I think that really elevates him to top tier.
Just being in the feud with Hangman, he's already in the picture now. Like that was a major step up with this feud with Hangman, because now he's in that same circle to be talked about. And I don't want it to be. I don't want him getting the title because he would be the first black champion in AEW. I don't want it to be about that. I want him to get the title because this dude deserves it.
Agreed.
The way he sells, the storytelling he does, his creative mind, the moves he does, and just seeing. I want to see Swerve. I want to see Swerve versus Switchblade. I want to see Swerve. I've always wanted Swerve versus Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Swerve's another one of those top tier guys for me. He's in my top 5. He might be my top 3. And just to see him get that gold, and he could be that ruthless, MJF. He might be that one guy that can that's dirtier than MJF. Like he goes, I can go in places you've never been before and be that ruthless.
Well, he already has the arsenal in Brian Cage and the Mogul affiliates, or the Mogul Embassy, excuse me, and
don't forget Prince Nana.
So, they're already doing some awesome stuff, and to really elevate that, maybe this is the stepping stones that Swerve is going to take. I want him, and I know Crayfish has been on Swerve for a long time, but I think him to beat Hangman and then start to take those top tier steps that he deserves is the right move to make right now. And it's to me like, you know, just what I just said a few minutes ago, to have a faction champion, to
Yeah.
have a arsenal behind you. Think Jay White with the Bullet Club, think Swerve with the Mogul Embassy, think Jericho and Inner Circle, you know, all these things. I think it would be really great stuff. So
can you imagine we might get Swerve versus Kenny Omega at some point?
Yeah, I mean,
That,
it has to
I
happen.
don't know if that may not pop you. That pops me. I would love to see that.
Well, Swerve impresses me more and more every time he's in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his early on, I was like, what's the hype about this guy? You know, because I didn't follow him much before AEW.
Yeah.
And then the more and more, you know, the Keith Lee stuff was great. And he's just very captivating to watch. And I think he's one of those confident guys that really can carry a title, carry a company. And I think he could do it. You know, Jay White is another really confident choice that I could see given what's going on lately. Other than that, no one really sticks out. You know, if anyone, given the landscape, you know, appropriate build, you know, even back to my choice, Miro, I don't think he's at that level. I think he's a top guy, and I love what he's doing, but I just don't think his direction is world championship at the moment.
See, I think one of the things AEW, once AEW, again, still like a 4-year-old company, once they really figure this part out, and people complain, and you know, the Raz, shout out to the Raz in the chat, and also Brent Ross and Karen Joseph, I think was in there too. So everyone there, that with the recent WWE releases, a lot of people get upset when people start speculating, oh, they're going to AEW. People are like, well, AEW's roster is too full. But the beauty about AEW, one, they treat their talent very well, from my understanding, from what I've understand from most people that are there. But also, like, people could take extended time off, and which not only helps their mental health, but also helps with storylines. Like, have somebody lose and then they disappear for a while. Let them take some time off and then bring somebody else up and build them up as a challenger, and then go from there. And like you could do that. Like, you could give Wardlow this time off and then have him come back in the picture. Have Hobbs go all the way up and then take some time off, come back. You know, you could do that kind of stuff in a large roster, a large healthy roster. I got to add that healthy part. Large healthy roster allows that, and allows you to make those pivots when somebody gets injured.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I think MJF's path should include. It even could include Sean Spears. He had a one-on-one with that, like almost just going through the pinnacle.
Yeah,
you know, and then having AJ White or Swerve kind of being the ultimate nemesis and dethroning him down the line at Revolution or even Double or Nothing, dude. I honestly wouldn't mind the way that things are going. Is MJF keep going for another 6 months or something? Because you know, he's not wrestling. He's wrestling more than he has been.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion for Crayfish, but the second half of his title run so far has been much better than the first, in my opinion. And so I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot we can dive in. We will we'll wrap it up there, but there's some good things to digest. Absolutely loved last night's episode. And I can't wait for Rampage tomorrow. You know, I haven't said that in a while. I haven't said I'm excited for Rampage in a while. And, you know, Grand Slam always delivers on a good Rampage, even though it's 2 hours on a Friday night, and then you get 2 hours on Saturday night, 6 hours of TV of AEW this week. It's like Christmas in September almost. So excited for it. We're wrapping up episode 100.
Can't
Before
believe
we
it.
wrap, what match on Rampage are you looking forward to the most as we
the mixed tag, the trio, the 3-on-3. I think that's going to be very, very interesting. How that shakes out, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there.
You know, when I saw that graphic and announcement, I was like, I'm still a little like, okay, I don't know what to expect. So me, I want to be surprised. You know, I have low expectations for it because I was not really geeked about it. I honestly this is a good follow-up card to Grand Slam. You know, I'm really pumped about the whole overall card. You know, Rampage usually hasn't been must-see TV, and I think tomorrow's episode is must-see with I'm looking forward to seeing, because of the great work he's doing, the Christian and Darby and Sting and Luchasaurus match. I'm looking forward to that and seeing how that pans out.
Wear your turtlenex. But you have the right attitude, and that's the attitude I'm going to start really trying to have is go in with, you know, you're never, I mean, AEW has yet to have a bad show. You know, AEW's yet to let me down. There have been matches that I was like, but like if I go expecting Rampage to be this tremendous show, like flawless show, you're setting your expectations too high. But if you go in just, hey, I'm just going to sit back and have fun, you're going to have fun, and it's going to be all awesome. And then we got Collision. So, yeah, we got a lot of good wrestling just in AEW.
Busy back-to-back nights, that's for sure.
Yes.
But everyone, thanks for tuning in. Mind Runner and SPD. We're going to wrap it up with Dynamite Download here on Thursday night. Thank you so much for tuning in, and enjoy the weekend, a busy weekend of AEW television. And we love having you and appreciate you. So enjoy the weekend. Have a safe and fun weekend with AEW television. We will see you on our next episode.
Woo-hoo, 101, baby. Rock hard.
Triple digits.
That's cool, dude.
My end screen won't go.